Hi everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thanks very much for watching that earwax removal video today. Oh my goodness, I had a tough one to do here. This was a really difficult one to do. Well, the second ear canal was a really difficult one to do. What we can see in this first ear canal is we've got lots of layers of dry wax and they're almost sitting one on top of the other. So what we've got here is it's almost like a wax Jenga, if you like. So we've got to try and get all these pieces out here and you can see that they are quite firmly stuck in some places to one another and to the canal wall in this case as well. So I've got the standard size ulnar tube in here and I'm just gently sort of peeling this out. Now what we've got to do is we've got to take one piece out before we can get and loosen the next section. So this is going to have to be quite a methodical approach to getting this wax out. I've put a little bit of olive oil in here just to ease things along a little bit. Just because the wax has gone so dry. You can see we've got a nice mobile piece there, but there's a little section to the bottom left which is just getting in the way and just holding on to that a little bit. So we've got to try and wiggle that past that one. There we go. Out that one comes. Let's take a look behind that now. We can just see a little gap form down that right hand side. So let's try and lift up from the bottom here. Let's see if we can get this detached off the canal wall again. But you can see there's not a lot of give in here. Now I can see a little brief glimpse of the eardrum beyond. So we know there is a gap going all the way down there. And the fairness to the patient, they hadn't really noticed too much of an issue on this side. They were severely blocked, having lots of hearing issues on the other side. But this one wasn't too bad. And the reason for that is because we are layered in pieces, one over the top of the other. So there's been a little channel that's going to run all the way down through this wax. So we're just trying to lift. There we go. Now we're getting a bit of purchase on this wax. You can see me lift from that side of the canal wall and then this whole section here just started coming forwards. So is this going to stay as one big piece here? Can we get the grip on it is the next question. There it comes. There we go. Look at this. Look at this, guys. Look at the size of that chunk. That was huge. This was such a long piece of wax, this one. You can see just how long that was. So we had all these layered pieces in front and then this long old piece behind it. We can see the eardrum behind that. So this is what it looked like to start with and this is what it looks like afterwards. So you can see a very different ear canal. Oh my goodness, this was tough. This was such a difficult one to do. What we had here, on first glance, I thought the other ear canal was going to be the worst of the two to do, just because it looked so hard. But my goodness, look at this. So we thought, well, okay, this is a wetter wax. It's a bit more mushy. You know, it shouldn't really cause us too much of an issue. Probably, you know, scoop some of it out here with a Jobson horn, go back in then with a little bit of suction maybe to get this out. When I scooped it away, what I saw was this darker section in the middle here. Now, when you tend to see that and you've got this kind of lighter material around the outside and then this darker material in the middle, from my experience of the patients that we see in clinic here, what I tend to find with those patients is when they come along with a wax like this, they've got this hard outer, almost like a skin layer that wraps around a more central, softer plug, which is a nightmare to get out. It's not an easy one at all. You can see me peeling away that outer layer there we were talking about. But what can happen a lot of the time is this wax will then inadvertently end up going very deep. And when it goes very deep, what you end up with is a piece of soft wax where this skin material is almost closed around the front end of it, which means as much as you try and pull this from the front, that skin section that's holding it around the outside edge is holding on to this. It's got a kind of a death grip on this one. It doesn't want to come away easily at all, which means you really got to work at this plug. Now that's what we're doing here. You can see me working all the way around the outside edge, and the key to this is trying to fold as much of that skin material into the central portion of the canal there before we can get the rest of this out. You can see I'm trying to crumble some of this softer wax from the center away because I need to pull more of these side pieces into the middle of the ear canal. There we are. You can see there's a little bit of movement at the base there, just underneath that plug. You can just see a little bit of movement, but your heart sinks when you see that just beyond it, you have another layer of that skin just beyond it. So that's going to be holding on to the back end of this wax. My goodness, this was such a tough one. And we threw olive oil at this. You know, we've gone in here with a few doses of olive oil just to try and loosen this, because you do find olive oil will help the skin not to re-stick back where it was. So by putting the olive oil in, it does form this little bit of a barrier in there. There we are, just lifting from the side now. Let's see if we can get this sort of moved over. Can you see that skin layer down the left and right hand side there? We've also got this layer at the top here, which when we try and pull that one down, that's also stuck with skin. It's just everywhere. So there's nothing really that I'm thinking, oh yeah, I can get a good grip on that particular section. This whole thing's gonna come out. I am literally probing every single part of this, looking for a weakness in this plug of wax. And it just wasn't any. This thing was just a beastie to get out. It wasn't easy at all. So you can see I've drenched it with olive oil. I've put so much olive oil in here now. We're just trying to, oh, there we go. Little bit of a movement there to the top. So I'm starting to think, yeah, okay, we may be able to get this moving. If I can detach this top section, then maybe. But as soon as you get a grip on it, it just crumbles in front of you and doesn't bring any of that with it. There is a central portion that's just pulled away here, which is great. By taking that central portion away, means we can fold the sides in a little bit more, detach a little bit more of that skin. Let's see if we can pull this top section down into the gap we've just created now. But as much as you get a grip on it, that wax is fighting you every step of the way in this ear canal. There, we managed to get that top section away. Great, that's brilliant, that's gone. Let's see if we can work on this other section here. It's missed it a little bit just because there's a little bit of olive oil in here. Okay, you can see look at the layers underneath. Can you see just beyond the suction tube? The bit I'm working on here, as I pull this forward, you can see the layer underneath flexing with it, which means it's held on to that particular layer as well. Right, we've broken that section away. Let's see if we can lift this skin at the bottom here of the canal. Okay, that's a looser section there. Look at the skin beyond. Can you see what I mean about these layers that have built up and wrapped around this plug? It is tough. That is just skin back there. I think what's happened here is I think the migration process from the eardrum outwards, I think has got interrupted, and what we've ended up with is these layers of skin that have basically come from the eardrum and built forwards, and that's what's wrapped around this plug. My goodness me. There we go. There we go. We just saw it starting to come away now. Look at all that skin layer underneath, that grey beige, that greyish colour underneath there, you can see. There we are, that's the plug. You can see all the bits of skin hanging onto the back end of it as well. You can actually see where it started to come away from the eardrum there. That sort of section you can see just on the eardrum, that whiter section there. But patient was so relieved to get that out. Really, really hearing much, much better as soon as that's come away. So this is what it looked like to start with. You can see very soft wax. This is what it looks like afterwards. This is what we removed. So we've got 6 centimeters, just under 2.5 inches worth of earwax there, guys. You can see just a massive, massive wax removal. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did voicing it over. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can give this video a thumbs up. And as always, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of your ears, and take care of one another. And I'll see you again real soon. Bye, everyone.